Okay, so no hiking today as the oldest is in a play group, but the next best thing to being outside is talking about gear. The mental shift from winter is not quite yet complete, so I'm going to take it back and talk about one of my favorite subjects, ski boots. The boot in question is the Lupo Carbon T.I. This year it's called the Lupo Factory, which is at the top end of the Lupo line. It's called Carbon or Factory because of the carbon cuff here, high performance. This is not a real review for the boot, which is awesome, by the way. But I did a few modifications to make it more awesome or just fit a little better with my personal needs. And so I'm going to go through those now. Just note that most of these modifications are kind of from the end of the season, so they're not fully tested, but I've got a good sense of what worked. So the first, and I'd say most important quality mod right here is this shim that I've placed to increase the forward lean of the boots. So the boots are naturally pretty upright, and there's no official piece that's going to increase the height here. So basically what this is a piece of plastic. It's the same on both boots, but the piece of plastic doesn't matter. It was a 4mm shim used from ATK bindings to make sure you've got the correct spacing between the binding and the boot. I cut that in half and then drilled a hole through it, countersunk the hole, and put a teeny little screw down in that. So that's what's holding it in there. And then basically it's just increasing the height of this ledge here. So that's it. Quality wise, it's been a big improvement for me because they're stiff boots, and unless it's like a big hit or something, I'm not fully flexing it all the way, which we could argue is the good or bad about that. But I like the stiffness of the boots, and personally, if I'm not on the balls of my feet, I can't ski as well with my feet. So I feel like I'm skiing with my lower legs. So I notice when my boots are unbuckled or I can kind of get more forward, I've got like a little more control in that sense. So this kind of allows that to happen while still having kind of the full stiffness of the boot behind me. So that's that. There's two kind of downsides to that. One's just a trade-off to having the more forward stance or forward lean, is that like popping off the tails, it's a little bit, because your legs are tilted more forward, you can't stand up as easily. So I guess that would be an argument for having a softer tongue in a more upright boot, and you can flex it when you need to, but it's still upright if you need to kind of pop off the tails. So that's that. The other one is just the way the boot works, is with the tongue in, is that you've got to do some creative boot buckling to get everything settled. So you basically need to set it in the walk mode before, because you have to lean the boot really far forward, and then you've got to compress the tongue into the right shape. The next mod is a little bit, it didn't really change much as far as performance goes, which is why I did it, but I took off the lower buckle. So the outer buckle here, and then there was a big strap there. That's what that looked like. This is basically an alpine boot as far as the hardware goes. So, but as far as the range of motion, it tours like an amazing touring boot. So getting down the weight at all is really helpful, because you can do, as far as comfort wise with the range of motion, you can do big days on this boot, but it skis amazing. So anything to shave down the weight to get it more in that touring class is great. And right now, the current kind of touring weight in a 25.5 is around 1,550 grams. So that's getting pretty competitive with what's out there. But the main reason I took this off was because I had to punch the boot quite a bit. And just to get some more aggressive punching, I took it off so it was easier for the boot fitters to do that, because it is quite narrow and tapered in the front. And as a ski boot, I wasn't really having many problems. But on the big touring days, just that slight forward motion of the foot was giving me a little bit of rub. So I had to go a little aggro with the punches. And the boot fitter said if I need any more, I need to get a real touring boot. So we'll look into that, but I like these boots too much. it wasn't an end of the season mod. It's been going for 2 seasons now. Just a simple booster strap, which the current model has a power strap now. I prefer kind of a stretchy booster strap just to keep the tension at the top of my leg. I don't have it on for touring. I take it off with the tongue off, and then just that's how you get the lower touring weight. So it's a little bit slippy in the back if I'm just going skiing for the day. It's a bit of pain in the ass, but at my current tension, it's kind of set it and forget it. But I run it. I like running it. You can run it, if I run it all the way on the tongue, I find it's not enough. The buckle works better as far as keeping the tongue in place. And if I run it just on the liner, it's almost a little, it's not enough. It doesn't add enough stiffness or more control. So I actually try to add it right half and half on the middle, and that's like the best performance. In the back, it's just sitting there. So that's currently, but without the booster, I find the boot almost too soft. And then there's 2 settings as far as height on this front, this top cuff strap, and on the lowest one, it's also a little soft. But with this at the top and the booster kind of in the position that I like it, it's quite stiff, and I could say for some situations too stiff, but for really going for it, it's perfect. So, I mean, for a boot that tours this good, it charges so hard. So that's it. As far as other mods to consider, kind of working on for next year, I think probably one of the first to take over is the tongue. I think maybe boiling it and then closing it, get it all hot, and then close it in the shape of the boot, so you don't have to sort of recompress it to match the shape of that forward lean shim. Then also, I mean, I think removing this, like I said, it's the end of the year mod. I can't notice any performance difference so far, but maybe at some point I have to put a buckle back. But I kind of like it how it is. Other people have removed this, there's a little nub here for attaching the tongue. Other people have removed that just to make the tongue in and out a little quicker. For regular skiing, I like having this on there. I'm not going touring every day, so it's nice to not have the tongue fall off when you want to take it off. The other thing is inside the boot, the way this gaiter's attached, there's a rivet right there, and that rubs on the liner in a bad way. So kind of maybe modifying or kind of taking off the top part of this gaiter that keeps the snow out would help with that. And then also help with, you know, there's general squeakiness to the boot while touring, so trying to reduce that squeakiness. Oh yeah, one last thing for improvement would be with the tongue and the back, just the way the booster attaches. Just maybe make a little fin here that the booster strap can sit on, so it doesn't slip down and kind of is seated on that, just in the position I like. That's a very personal thing. And then for the back of the cuff, I could put a little post out or something like that with a rivet in here to hook that in. But I'm thinking about just honestly painting some urethane here just to get a little stickiness on this. I guess Velcro would work too, but I think urethane might do the job just to keep this in better position. And I know most people are gonna want the booster strap attached or not worry about taking it on and off, but I want what I want, so that might help. So all in all, great boot. Like I said, it's not a full review, but I mean, ski's amazing. Such a great skiing boot for how well it tours. So we'll see how these rest of these mods come together, and maybe there'll be a review here in the future.